Okay, recording now. And our sales team right now, I think everything is still on Google Sheets. It's very chaotic. We recorded our past Q2 and Q3 leads and what's the status, where are they coming from, like all of that on Google Sheet. Obviously, it's not scalable. It's not already scalable for Q4. So, what is the right setup for early stage startup for HubSpot?
Yeah, makes sense. Is there a reason why you're going with Tag Manager and GA for reporting?
It's just what we use in my previous startup. And then, we and everybody, I feel like so far, all the marketers I've hired on the team, everybody knows GA, and then, not Tag Manager, but GA, everybody knows how to use it. So that's why we kind of went with it.
Got it. And do you know what you want to report on in GA? Do you have a good idea of that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is I wanted to know how people come in, how long take it, like what pages they stay on before they convert, because I want to know like what is the conversion path, because right now I cannot evaluate how is our campaign efforts, like in general. For example, like, do we need to spend so much energy to do our weekly newsletter? I mean, we got a lot of like compliments from VCs, but
yeah, I like it.
VCs are not our target customer. Like, great, we build a brand, but and also another thing is I see a lot of our existing customers are using are viewing our weekly newsletter. So then if that's the case, I would categorize more on the retention effort rather than, acquisition. So I just want to know what is the best way to know the most effective acquisition channel? How long does it take for people to convert? What's the conversion, what are different conversion paths there are? And what are, should we focus on content? Should we focus on email? Should we focus on paid? All of that. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. A lot of that stuff you can also do in HubSpot. I promise I don't get paid by HubSpot to say any of this, but personally not super familiar with, haven't spent a lot of time in GA myself, but I spend a lot of time, I build all my dashboards in HubSpot for both marketing and sales. And then there's one place to sort of manage the whole cycle. So it's easy to link, first visit to deal value and closed won deals and all that stuff. So maybe there's an opportunity there to also do some of that reporting in HubSpot and then see how you like that versus something like Google Analytics as well.
Yeah, I would love it. Because the last time I remember you mentioned about, you love HubSpot because everything is tied together. That's exactly what I need. So if we can, I'm not married to Google Analytics. So if we can switch everything to HubSpot, totally happy to do that.
Sure. Yeah, you can. I mean, I don't know if you can do everything that you can. I mean, like Google Analytics free is probably limited in some ways, but you can probably do more stuff and slicing and dicing, but you can build most reports in HubSpot as well. So I think for that, you should be fine. Really all you have to do, I can share some stuff here. First I was just going to jump in Itatively's HubSpot account and show you around, but then I was like, maybe that's not totally fine to just show you all our data, which is still in there. But depending on what it is, I can definitely jump in. Any other, is there any other questions up front that you want to handle from any of you guys, or should I just jump in?
Yeah, Franciska, I have a couple specific questions. One just kind of in the realm of email marketing. We're not really doing any email marketing yet, but we put a call to action on our blog for people to just sign up to get updates. So we're going to try to start doing maybe a monthly or a 6-week newsletter. And I have in my scope of work with a design agency asking them for an HTML email newsletter template that's branded. So my assumption is that I'm just going to be able to take that from them and then import it into HubSpot and use it from there. But I just want to make sure that sounds reasonable. Or if there's any other way, I don't know, hurdles, tips and tricks, things to know when embarking on something like that. And then the second question is in a very different realm, but I think we've had some chatter on the whole product-led thing and how to use your HubSpot when people are just signing up directly in the product. and making sure that those contacts get into HubSpot and they're like treated and handled, you know, in a funnel oriented way.
We're laughing because we always hear chatter about PLG and it trickles down into our jobs, right? And so like when you hear that across the board, it's just comforting. It's like, okay.
Yeah, sorry, everybody's like hairs raising.
Yeah. I have a one-on-one with my CEO at like 3:30 to talk about PLG. So
That's fun.
You'll be ready then.
Okay, are you all three using HubSpot at this point?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I finally signed up to, yeah. And then I guess like a very specific question off of what, is it Bethan?
Bethan.
Bethan. Okay, Bethan said was just like, there's that trigger in contact that says like, save as marketing lead. And I'm not sure what that does actually. Like I've been saving people as marketing lead, but I'm like, how does that connect to the email marketing, for example, or whatever, you know, like what's the consequence of checking the box?
So checking the box for I think what is like marketing contacts is that so you can communicate with them one-to-many. So you should always check the marketing contact box so you can email them. Otherwise, HubSpot won't let you email them essentially.
Oh, so it's kind of like a hack where like you're adding these out, it could be outbound, I guess, right? Like person, and then you're checking it and it becomes like a marketing contact in HubSpot. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think you should be careful if you're taking like a list of leads from like say Apollo or some like ZoomInfo type and then dumping them in HubSpot. I would be careful of marking those as marketing contacts. So HubSpot will penalize you if you're spamming and sending emails to people that won't expect an email from you.
Got it.
So you'll get some warnings before they'll be like, hello, what
Got it.
are
So
you doing?
like you want to do the marketing, right? That's the only constraint is the penalization. So it's like you want to save them as contacts that like at least the other person's like there's a low likelihood of them clicking spam on you or unsubscribe. Got it. Okay.
I guess so, but I think it's also the various part of HubSpot that you're using. So if you should be using their outbound tool when outbounding to people, and then using your email marketing tool when marketing to your subscribed user base. So treating those separately, I think is a good idea.
I think there's one thing BB probably want to know is because we got into the same problem is you have to pay. So any contacts you marked as marketing contacts, HubSpot charges you. So we hosted large conferences. We had 7,000 contacts coming, a lot of from Nepal, India, you know, those never become a customer. So we have to archive over 3,000 of them.
I see. So you want to be ROI conscious too when you add them as marketing contacts. Great tip. Okay, got it.
Yeah, because we get emails saying your bill will be increased, and I was like, no.
That's tough though, because you kind of want to keep them there. But yeah, okay. Is that a list of questions essentially?
So I'm trying to hire somebody who can do our HubSpot implementation, and then this is all my requests so far.
Got it. Would it be helpful to run through some high level stuff and then we can dive in? Is that
yes?
Let me just share this. So I mean, I don't think we need to talk about this because you're all already chosen HubSpot. I think one thing I would say at Amplitude we use Salesforce and Marketo. At Snowplow we use Salesforce and Pardot. When I joined, iteratively we're using Close. Like there's so many tools out there. I think for us in the startup world, like HubSpot is just amazing because it does everything in one place and it's simple and straightforward. And so whether in the future you might have to upgrade to something like Salesforce, I don't really see a use case when we're in the early stage to take on a beast like that. It's super customizable. If it's really sort of and there's a huge need for tons of customization in the early days, you would choose something like Salesforce, but it just doesn't make a ton of sense. So maybe this is clear to all of you, but HubSpot has obviously both their marketing hub, but they also have their sales hub. So like no need for Excel sheets to manage like opportunities, right? Like I'll show you what it looks like in a sales funnel if that's new. They also do support. So some companies are using HubSpot for support as well, and then you have one experience for all of that. I'm just gonna jump through some of this quickly. So I think there's a few things you have to do. It sounds like some of the stuff you have done, like on the tracking side, all you have to do is really add the tracking code. For tracking code, it would also capture any form submissions on your website. But with ad blockers, you might want to consider using the Forms API that they have to capture them more reliably, because anyone with ad blockers won't be captured. And if you're relying on HubSpot to then surface that lead and send them an email, that will only happen if you're capturing it on the back end. So something to consider depending on your audience.
Raise my
Yes.
hand in real life. Because we integrated the HubSpot tracking code for the form tracking code. Do we just put it in the same place?
So this is an API you have to set up, and then you have to get one of your engineers to help with that, and then include the cookie so you're able to track them across the board. But yeah, you will probably require an engineer to set this up. I didn't set this up on my own.
Perfect. Good to know. Thank you.
There's also a few sort of hits that you probably have all run into, but make sure that you connect your email sending domain so you're a legit company. It's not ending up in spam filters. If you haven't done this already, and your sales rep hasn't done this already, connect your Gmail and add the HubSpot Chrome plugin. Then you get a lot of the HubSpot functionality right in your inbox. So canned replies and creating tasks, a lot of good stuff in there. Unfortunately, only
I did that. There's a tip. If you do that, the auto notifications that they have are super annoying. It's because they like it's like every time someone emails me, it triggers like a email notification, like 3 of them. Then I get 3 more emails, so then anyway, so like it just kind of go in there and do the default email thingy.
Oh, I didn't see that. So you get a notification, an email every time someone opens your email. Is that right? Or something like that?
There's just like 3 notifications that are default on. And then, so when
wow.
is synced with my email, like suddenly, like one, email would come in and it would be like, you have a new lead and like, this happens.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, like I have to like configure that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then connect your apps. So these are just some of the ones that I've connected. So every time a Calendly or someone booked a meeting, it was registered on their contact detail. LinkedIn Sales Navigator will give you enriched data inside HubSpot as well, so you can find the person and get more data about them. I really like Slack. Every time a new lead come in, I get a notification Slack. That's always a nice, little thing. Zapier, Intercom, all of these, but yeah, definitely helpful to connect your other tools so you have all of the information inside HubSpot. Very quickly on like how it's structured, I think that's also clear to everyone, but these are the main entities, right? You have companies and you have contacts and you have deals, and deals consist of a company and the contacts associated with that company. And so it's a bit different to how Salesforce thinks of leads and contacts. So in Salesforce, if you're familiar, you have leads and then you have contacts and accounts. And so I came from the Salesforce Pardot world and hated that framework. And then coming to HubSpot, it's kind of like a beautiful world where now you don't have to like treat people differently depending on where in the funnel they are. Instead, you have to leverage properties on your company's contacts and deals to differentiate them on where they are in your customer journey. And HubSpot does a good job out of the box, actually sort of identifying where they are in the journey, but you can also customize that and use automations. You have to pay more for automations, but I mean, again, I'm not here to sell you, and like I should get a partnership with going, right? But automations can be super helpful in terms of sort of categorizing your leads and eventually scoring them, all that stuff. But out of the box, HubSpot does a lot of that for you. At Iteratively, I actually didn't set up any custom differentiation. They knew based on everything else what was going on where more or less the customer was in their journey, both the company and the contact. And then like what I used a fair bit, and I've seen other companies do as well, is create customized properties and customize your views for yourself and for your sales reps if you have them, but for everyone who goes in and wants to look at what's happening with the deal, what's happening with the contact, what's happening with the company. So I have a few examples. This is one from Iteratively. I thought I could share. It's not super. It's just data on our feature requests. So every time we had a call and someone requested a feature that we didn't have, I put a customized property on the company field. And so whenever we released a feature that people have asked for, I know exactly who have asked for this feature. I could also even look at these feature requests by deal value. So how many open deals do I have? I didn't want to show you those numbers, but essentially you can imagine that there's like, 200,000 K of open deals that want this audit feature before closing. And that can actually help you prioritize your roadmap, but it can also help you with like understanding more about it. Yeah.
So because I'm aware of this, like what do you call, like a customized property. So do you add on you say you added on the company level or deal level?
Yeah, so it depends on what it is, right? So that was also something I was struggling with. Where do I add it? Is it on the contact? If it's the role of a person, it's on the contact. If it's tools or features they want, I would add it on the company. Anything related to the account, I would add on the company.
Okay.
I would do that because it persists as opposed to a deal will close. It will still exist, but it might be better to add those kind of things on the company level. But there might be things that you want to add to the deal level, like requirements, like they need Okta or they need I don't know, things they need before closing that are tied to the deal, you would add on the deal level.
Do you use, if you're using this as feature request Intel collection, do you use other tools like product board, like other professional feature request tools as well? Or no?
Yeah, so at Iteratively, when I joined, it was all in Jira, right? So every time someone mentioned something, we added it to Jira in like a comment or the description. Here are the companies that want this. So that was useful, but actually was not very useful for me in terms of like, or for engineering and product, like how do we prioritize if like, okay, we have a list of 5 customers here and 4 customers here, but how much revenue are we getting from each? Who are they?
Oh my God.
At an aggregate level?
That's
all that
crazy. Stuff. Yeah, that's a really, really important usage of that.
Yeah.
This app. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you. I didn't even conceive of being able to do that here. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, do you just call it like, say, feature request and you build a list? So salesperson on call, they just choose like a drop down?
Exactly. So I can probably show you that. That's probably not allowed here. I know we are recording. Let me...
You don't have to show anyone. It's just for me. If I'm missing some steps, I'm like, oh my God, like.
Or you can just take a screenshot also, that works, so not with all the deal information we don't need to see, just see the little widget.
Let me sign an NDA.
Yes, sign an NDA. Let me see if I can quickly find it. If not, then
because that's actually really powerful.
So nice. That's really, really powerful.
Yeah, that's
because I was actually thinking of using like Launchnote or some tool to do that, but then like now, but you're totally right, because then I have to like marry those two, and it's just Too many disparate data sets.
Exactly. So how I did it for feature requests here, I did multiple checkboxes, and then I just create values here. So I can add options here, but a sales rep cannot just go in and free form shit, right? Like it's managed. I'm the governor of of HubSpot in this case, and so they would have to go if there's a new feature they have found that people want. They would have to ask someone that has, level of admin rights to go.
So you would add the option. So they would look at the menu and select if it exists, but then if it doesn't, you guys don't know about it, then the workflow is, the protocol is like, okay, write it down and tell like Francesca, like that's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a little bit of a bottleneck, but if you do free, you can change, you can do like a free form field, but then it's very hard to aggregate and analyze. So I would always try to put some kind of framework in place here for that. So yeah, that's just a good, like that was really helpful for me in conversations with product and engineering.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that is
cool. So that was some of the basics. Let me talk about some of the marketing basics. So again, Jenny, you were talking a little bit about Google Analytics there and traffic. Like what I found really useful as well. This is not from my HubSpot. This is a generic one. It looks pretty good, right? 3 deals, but and low CPA. But essentially, you can hook into your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your LinkedIn ads. Maybe none of you are using Facebook ads, but LinkedIn ads, and a few others, I think. But those are the main ones in any case. And you can also hook in your social channels here as well, and then you will see how much traffic you get from LinkedIn and Twitter organically, and what happens to those contacts. So you're essentially able to attribute here down to the, like for here, this is for ads, but here you have your different ad campaigns running, and you can even set them up inside HubSpot. I still prefer to set my ads up in Google Ads and LinkedIn ads because I was more familiar with it, but it seemed pretty straightforward to do in HubSpot as well. And then you have the standard data that you get from analytics, but you can then go further and join that with we have 3 open opportunities that came in from this LinkedIn ad campaign or from LinkedIn social. So you take what you get in usually in Google Analytics a little bit further because you can marry it with the actual data from your pipeline. Granted, you use your HubSpot account for managing your pipeline. I'll come to that in just a second.
And then you say besides ads, you also can do that with social channels.
Organic social as well. Yeah. I don't think I have a screenshot there, no. But essentially it's the same. And you can build dashboards as well, like how many followers are you getting a week, how much traffic you're getting from social. I think they even differentiate from social, whether it's like a post versus your page, the link on your page. So it's pretty good in terms of sort of capturing first touch from both paid and social.
Oh, and it will say and then it has this magic. It can connect. Like say, if we added a new context, and then that context from, like say, LinkedIn post, HubSpot will tell me that.
Yeah, so it would be able to tell you if you UTM tag your links. I think it would tell you exactly the campaign. If you don't, it would just say LinkedIn as the source. And then I think in the refer, it might go deeper and show the exact source, like the post. Yeah.
What, Zenny, are you getting attribution wise from Revenue Zen that this is not addressing, I guess?
Oh, Revenue Zen decided not to continue with us.
Oh, wow.
Wait, what?
Why?
They decided
not the other way around.
Not the other way around. I'm in a bad luck. I'm not gonna lie. Like this is not the first agency that decided not to work with us. So I was like, did I do something wrong? So with Revenue Zen is because we have in-house head of content. So she is a SEO expert as well. So obviously to save budget, we say, hey, a lot of on-page optimization and some we want to do it in-house, and a competitor analysis want to do it in-house. And then they say, if you try to do all of that in-house, they cannot accurately attribute to
I see. So the
their
competitive solution
success.
is you guys are not outsourcing it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's happening. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Got it. Yeah, so definitely connect social, connect ads, leverage this. It's really powerful. I used it heavily, mostly to tell myself that Google Ads and LinkedIn doesn't work.
I know.
But the social part was really good for seeing, like, when we posted more on social, we got more follows, we got more traffic, and that was like, that was nice to just get visually and know we got some leads from posting about this, whatever. So that was.
But you guys posted on your B2B tool, you posted on like Facebook and stuff too?
No, we didn't even have a Facebook account.
Okay, I was like,
yeah.
how did
This
you
is not
just like
I
LinkedIn and
LinkedIn and
okay.
we just LinkedIn and a little bit of Twitter, mostly because I wasn't huge on Twitter, so I was like, I can just figure out LinkedIn, so that works.
Got it. Me too. I can't.
Same here.
Yeah. One platform at a time.
Yeah.
I do think Twitter is pretty good for our industry, but I haven't really nailed that myself.
Okay,
I spoke to a head of growth from a B2B sort of it's called Pleo. It's like a credit card, corporate credit card, and management of expenses. And we were like exchanging notes, like what's working for you, what's working for me, and he was like, I put money into Facebook ads. I have a small video that works across Instagram, Facebook. And the more money I put in, the more customers I get. And I was like, okay, cool, good for you. Sounds easy.
Wow.
So
I would love to see that video. We're making a video too.
I know. He's like, here's my printing press. Thank you.
No, but I think for the data persona, it won't work. I'm pretty certain there, but I think Phoebe, on some of your personas, it might be interesting to test out even something like Facebook.
Yeah.
The CPA is much lower than LinkedIn. Google is obviously the cheapest. LinkedIn is way expensive, but Facebook is pretty affordable to try out something there, potentially, depending. But yeah, it's not that easy for us in general. Very quickly, email marketing. You had a question on the templates. I think for an agency working on your templates, I would ask them to build them directly in HubSpot for you, and save them as templates here for you. And then every time you want to create an email, you choose the template that you want. So don't leave import or upload to yourself.
Yeah,
if it doesn't, like, they build it in HubSpot.
And have them do it there. Okay, that makes sense.
That's what we did as well. You just add them as an agency and then limit their scope under the user term. And then and have them to build all the workflow as well if you wanted it to. And then have them put everything in there and test it out. And then once it's done, just kick them out.
Okay.
I kick them out of the HubSpot. That's what I meant. No, that's what I meant.
Damn.
That's why agencies don't want to work with you, huh?
Gosh.
That's so funny. No, I love it. This is great.
Yeah, so I would definitely do it that way.
Okay, great. And these emails that we're looking at in the screenshot, these are like saved emails because you're going to do them over and over again, but they're not necessarily design templates, or maybe it's both. I mean, I was thinking in terms of what I was going to ask the agency for was like a newsletter template, an event template, and then one just more like generic that I could use multi-purpose and kind of tweak it over and over.
Yeah, you might also want to choose a product update template that might be slightly different than your general newsletter one, depending on how you want to go about that.
Okay, that makes sense.
But other than that, I think that makes total sense.
Cool.
In terms of getting it done. I wouldn't wait for it though. Like I never used an agency with HubSpot. I just built my own simple ones. They weren't like beautiful, but it's pretty easy to build some simple stuff that you can send out.
I have one teed up. I'm just waiting for something. It's like an event follow-up email that I went ahead and just created in there. Yeah, we we're doing a bit of brand work and website updates. And so I just thought I was just gonna bundle this big ask into one big scope and try to get them to do as much as I can. So
yeah, that's smart for sure.
cool.
Another thing that I started leveraging a little bit at Iteratively as well was HubSpot's SEO tracking. So if you put in the URLs, they will help you build a map of your different keywords. So we had the tracking plan. That was one of our main keywords, right? And so our main post was like about how to create a tracking plan, and then we had some sub pieces that also talked about tracking plan, but more specific. And so you build a tree like this that you sort of would visualize. So I don't know how I can't speak anymore. Would visualize your hub and your spoke pieces, and then they also show you the traffic and then the increase in traffic over time. So it helps a little bit with your reporting and also analyzing. So here there's some, I think this one, tracking plan ownership, isn't actually linked from this one to this one. So that's an improvement I could make to our SEO to make sure that all the different pieces are linked together.
I actually attended a workshop by HubSpot talking about this. I still didn't set it up. So, because I thought you need to use HubSpot blogging and the landing pages feature in order to do that. No.
This is Webflow and just my URLs.
So you literally just go in there, put in your URL, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do it.
I will. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, and then this one was also like we're talking about campaigns and tracking as well. So I'm sure you're all familiar with UTM parameters, but HubSpot makes it super easy to manage this across channels as well. So I actually didn't leverage this a whole lot, but it had like a larger campaign that spanned across different channels. I would create a campaign in here. So let's say, well, announcement could be a campaign because we got acquired. So acquisition announcement. That's a terrible campaign because it was the last campaign, but but that's in a campaign, right? And that spans my email marketing. It spans my LinkedIn post. It probably didn't span paid because why would I pay for this? But in any case, it spans across channels, and you create a campaign here. And then HubSpot helps you track that as well across your channels, and you can attribute your emails to that campaign. And over time as well, you could have your newsletter campaign, and you can see how that's attributing over time to leads and open deal flow, etc. So another thing I would consider, HubSpot also has their own sort of UTM builder. So if you go under settings and tracking URLs, you can create your UTM links right within there. And again, all integrated and helping you sort of have one spot for everything.
Question.
Yeah.
So, because I tried to use this once. So what does the report actually tell you? Like say if the campaign consists of the social posts, consists of the newsletter that's going out, or a new landing page that's being created with a form that's in there. So would it tell you, like say how many, like they just give you an aggregated view about like how many people that campaign reached and what's the conversion looks like?
Yeah, I think they give you, I don't know if I can look at this and probably not look at Iteratively for this, but they would give you everyone that's been influenced and touched by this, and you can always click into those numbers and look at who exactly was touched by that. If it's a form, I would assume it would include the conversion data as well there, and you'd be able to see how many people converted based off of your campaign. So it should give you the end-to-end look there.
Perfect. And then for the UTM link, do you have preferences? Because I use the Google UTM builder.
I do. Yeah, I used to. Yeah.
Is there any differences between the HubSpot UTM or? I
don't think so, actually. The only thing that if I could go back now, I would try to do it because then it lives in there potentially, and then it's just for sake of bookkeeping, but just keeping those links in a place. But I use the Google one as well.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And don't ask me about best practice for UTM parameters, because that is just a hot mess. It's funny. Okay, other things, just a few things here. I know we're lots of time has passed already. I also use HubSpot to manage any sort of PDFs and files that we had. So like white papers or books or anything. So you host them in there. Every time someone accesses it, you will know, right? So that includes tracking in your PDFs as well. So if you're sending a sales deck and they open the sales deck, it will get under their contact details and you will know that they've opened it.
How? I didn't even know this existed.
How?
I know, that's amazing.
What kind of magic is this? I'm like, how?
Well, it just opens a URL, right? Like you open a PDF, it doesn't download directly. It opens in a new tab, and then you can download, and then it's tracked, like it's cookied, right?
So if I have a sales one pager, do I just upload it into HubSpot?
Yeah.
Like
That's
under
awesome.
under like what? Under
let me see what it says here. It's under marketing and then files and templates. And then it's files.
Files and templates. File design tools and files.
Yeah. Files. Yeah. So just add your PDFs there.
You just upload it in here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then use that link. But HubSpot will generate a link for you that will be used for those files.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we also talked a little bit about like landing pages and blog. Like I didn't use HubSpot for landing pages and blog, depending on, I think most of you are on Webflow, right? Bethan, I know you are on Webflow.
Yes,
because
I am.
Okay, fine. Then you don't need to use HubSpot for this. But if you need for quick landing pages and you prefer to use HubSpot, you can do that. I would just go with Webflow in this case. What I did use from HubSpot was some of their forms. I used Webflow forms and just tracked with HubSpot tracking. The JS snippet was enough for me. Yeah. But I did use the pop-up from HubSpot. So I had one of those annoying pop-ups on our blog. But I only had the exit pop-up with this, which I think is quite friendly when you're about to leave the page and you spend a certain amount of time on our blog. This pop-up would appear before you leave, and we would get a good amount of signups from this. I'm not a huge fan of pop-ups, but I do, if we do have to have a pop-up, I like the exit intent pop-up in this case.
And then you can do that within HubSpot?
Yeah.
Oh, how?
That's really cool. It's like you're about to leave the page.
I know, like how do you do that?
I think I can probably show you that one.
Because I really like that feature from some other website I've seen as well. So I was like, I thought it needed, engineer resources in order to make that happen. That's why I never made that request.
No. So you just have let me see.
As a user, I kind of get annoyed at it.
I know, but
as a marketer, it's like, yes.
Yeah, I think it performed. We also had a snowplow, and it actually performed pretty well compared to others that we had.
Yeah.
So it's just under marketing and then forms, and then you create your own form here.
But how do you know the trigger? Like, say, how do you know when somebody's about to leave and then that automatically pops up?
Yeah, let's see. It's been a while since I targeting here. So website URL contains blog. Visitor is unknown, so I wouldn't show it on an existing, customer or someone that's already in here. And then on exit intent, and after a certain amount of seconds, and you can do minutes as well, right? If you're like, okay, they have to be really, in depth on our blog before I would post this.
This is great. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's jump back in here. Okay, so now it's sales. So like getting out of that spreadsheet for sure. So at Iteratively, we built two pipelines. So we had a sales pipeline and a product pipeline. I'll start with the sales pipeline. So that's all manual, right? So I had these stages for the sales pipeline: prospecting, demo completed, solution validation. That would usually be sort of like a POC, or they're trying out the product for themselves, contract sent, close one, or close last. those will differ based on your product, how your sales cycle looks, and you can customize these by going to create pipeline here, and then like you just write your names, and you can choose the deal probability here as well. That will help you with forecasting and any sort of sales reporting. And then you can also, if you have a sales team, ensure that they update properties, so you can make things mandatory here. So if something goes to solution validation, this was mostly for our CEO and co-founder in this case, like he didn't put any info. So some of these are just required fields for you to move something in the pipeline, right? So if you need certain details or you want certain details, you can mark these as required, and you're not allowed to move anything to close one, for example, without saying why we won this deal. And again, all of that can be used for reporting purposes. And you can also like choose your own closed one reasons. That's another one of those custom properties that I would choose or suggest that you create actually. So like we won because we're, I don't know, cheaper, better, we had this feature, whatever it is. The most common reason is the same with, or even more importantly with closed loss, right? Like, is it always competition, or why do we lose these deals? And so this is manual, right? Sales rep or CEO or whoever manages you, whoever manages the sales in this case would move the deal across the Kanban board as they go through the different stages. For my product pipeline, I had it set up to,
So for the sales pipeline, this is what you use that snowplow? This exactly step?
This is what I used that iteratively. At snowplow, it was a little bit more complicated.
Oh, and also the deal probability as well. Yeah,
that's just something I came up with. I was like, contract sent, that's probably a little bit low, would be 90%. But they're actually quite low. I'm very conservative, 40% solution validation.
No problem. This is great. Will you share the slides afterwards?
Sure.
This.
Well, then I would like probably increase the contract sent, right? Like if you send a contract and 20% of the time they don't sign it, I think there's some problems.
That's true.
All right. So for the product pipeline, every time a new user signed up, they would enter the product pipeline. So that was an automation I've set up. So users sign up, they're captured through the form or the form API. There are some complications if you have signed up with Google. So you definitely have to use the API for that, and you have to speak to an engineer, go to HubSpot documentation and figure that one out. There's something about sending the cookie and the identify call and the details, so you get all of it and you're able to like join the data from unknown user to known user. But it should be pretty straightforward if you have someone a little more technical than me on your team that can help with that. But essentially, when there's a new sign up, I would trigger an automation saying new sign up, create opportunity in the product pipeline. And then I added another step, which was like returning user. So I would have user visited our product the next day or any day thereafter, move from new user or new user sign up to returning user. And so you can move your product PQLs, your product leads, through this same kind of customer journey by using automations and build a funnel that makes sense for you. And in mine, we were still very early. And so one step was we had a free trial, and then some would just downgrade to free and use the free product. So I had a like downgraded user, that was one, and then they would just sit there. I had like surface to sales, like in communication and in conversation, and it would still be a PQL until we pulled it into the sales pipeline or if they downgraded. But again, you can find the steps that you could, if you have sales reps, you can have a column that's like ready for sales because they've done XYZ in the product and they should be ready to talk to someone potentially.
I'm sorry.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
How might you go about, let's say, using like Zoom info data to match the sign up with like an enterprise tier versus non-enterprise, and then have that like trigger, oh, surface this enterprise one to sales. Like is doing something like that possible?
Yeah, and I do think that out of the box, HubSpot delivers that. I don't think you even need zoom in for at this stage.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can just try to look at that company in here and see. So like there's out of the box stuff that HubSpot, I think they use Clearbit under the radar or under the hood themselves,
Okay.
HubSpot. And so you should be able to capture quite a lot of information. I'm just trying to see if I can show you one that's allowed. I know it's just you guys, so let's just look at this one quickly, and then so this company was created a few days ago. So you all know Udacity, I'm sure. So all of this is out of the box. I haven't done anything here, right? I've done nothing. This was just created because this guy created an account with us. And you see here, they take the LinkedIn page, they say where it is, number of employees, and annual revenue, right? And this is captured, Insights database. So they have maybe their own, or I think it's Clearbit that's powering it, but maybe I don't. So in this case, you can have a filter over 200 employees, go here, less than 200 employees, go here, unknown, you don't know, like you could like surface for manual intervention, or you could just put in the unknown.
Where would you configure that type of filter? And like when you say go here, what do you mean go where? Like go to a certain list or?
Yeah, so that depends. So workflows here, like, let's see. I would use workflows, right? So it depends on your process. If it is for you new user sign up, we can walk through the process here. It would be creating a workflow, new user signs up, add opportunity to create opportunity from this company. Next step, check employee size. If above X, move to sales intervention. If below a certain size, keep in new user sign up.
Okay.
And that could be a flow. And then for the sales assistance, create a Slack notification and ping person in Slack.
Okay.
So like when you have all these like PQ, product-led sales tools, they do some of this for us. They hook into your segment data or whatever, but a lot of this we already capture in HubSpot, right? And so you can build some of these simple flows by using the data that HubSpot has, the data that you've collected on the user, by having HubSpot tracking across your marketing site and your product, right? So including your product as well. And then surfacing leads for sales, or putting stuff in Slack, or putting them into an email nurture, right? So if it's new user, less than 50 employees, send them these emails over the next 2 weeks.
Okay, cool.
And all of that is done in under workflows. And it's really
workflows. Okay, I did not know about any of that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's super powerful. It's super easy to use. Super easy to play around with as well.
And I have another question, because I also have to run in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I want to request another special session just for the product pipeline, because I think the sales pipeline is pretty self-explanatory and it's been around for a while, but I feel like the product pipeline, it's relatively new. Like so far, I think for our site, it's completely mess. Like I only know when people sign up, the contact we pull it is from Intercom. So the Intercom will talk to HubSpot, and HubSpot comes in over here. And then to make things even more complicated, we do not like the HubSpot email feature. So we want to use customer.io to provide more customized, more personal feeling. There's no more that unsubscribe stuff on the bottom. So we need to also add another layer, like create a, workflow.
Why you don't want to use HubSpot?
Because our CEO says, under the HubSpot underneath, there's always have this unsubscribed. You cannot remove it because it's illegal for email campaign. And then people know that's from automated emailing system.
Oh, I need to talk to Glib.
Ah.
That's fine. Like that's marketing. Like yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we can talk about it. Yeah, we can do another session on that.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I want to know, like, how do you nurture product-led leads, right? Because if people come over, and also another thing is we don't have free sign up. We only have a sandbox environment. So people cannot connect to their own data sources. So it's our sample data sources. They only can play around. I know if you can do crazy things, if people use the certain features, we can trigger email to send to them, but we definitely not even close to get there yet. But I would love to have just a individual session, to just talk about how to do like a product led leads, like what does the nurture funnel looks like, what are some best practice workflow. I think a lot of people will be very interested, because that's also close tied to the product led lead.
This is going to be an ongoing thread for us as well, so definitely count me in for more of that, more of even this. Thank you so much, Franciska.
Of course,
this is really such a great to be able to spend time, and lovely to meet you, Zenny.
Lovely to meet you as well. Yes, and please, I want to hear what the rest of the slides say as well. So next time we can book 90-minute sessions. So we can finish this course and jump into the other one.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's focus more on the PLG pipeline next time. I'll reach out with some times that work.
Perfect. Can you share the slides as well?
I will.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.